All right, welcome everybody to a wonderful Friday morning. The lecture today is going to be in two parts. First part is going to be data science, which will fire you up and inspire you and maybe encourage you to get a job in the field. There's a lot of people that want to make money, and want to do kind of computer science stuff, but like a full computer science major is like, not really interested in it. And then there's some people that love math and want to have a job other than teaching. And so data science is sort of like the love child of computer science and math, especially science. That's not science. Data science is the combination of computer science and stats in particular. And it is a very hot field right now. It is, there's a lot of jobs in it. We have trouble hiring professors to teach data science because they get hired away by industry. And what it is you take a lot of data and you do analysis on it. So, for example, if you're working for Nordstrom's, you might look at all of your sales data and see, at a basic level, like what are we selling? We sold $1 million worth of luggage. We sold $2 million worth of sunglasses. We sold $3 million worth of dresses. Whatever, very basic level. But then you can do sort of higher level stuff on it as well. So yeah, you acquire the data, you clean the data, you extract information from it. But there's like more you can do. There's like clustering. So for example, you might look at your customers that come in and group them into 5 different groups of people. You might have the traveling grannies that are all women in their 80s that buy luggage every year. And you might have the 13-year-old boys who buy sunglasses every year. And you can put all of your demographics sort of into clusters, which allows you to talk about them and also to sell to them, right? For example, if there's a large group of 80-year-old women that buy a new set of luggage every year, you'd better have some new offerings for sale every year, And capitalism, when it works its best, is when you are finding out what people want and giving it to them. Like that's really, the optimal win-win situation for people in capitalism, is that the business figures out what people want before maybe they even know that they want it. And then when the person walks into the store, they're like, oh my gosh, there's a purple luggage, and they buy it. Or, if you know that there's a lot of 13-year-old boys buying sunglasses, maybe you make some frames that are a little bit smaller so they fit the head of a 13-year-old. So there's options for them. And they give you money, so you're happy. You give them a product that's exactly what they wanted, so they're happy. Everyone's happy. It's a win-win situation. Your business stays in business. You get to pay your employees. Customers are happy with your company. And data science makes this happen. Demand and supply, yes. Data science is a term that's been thrown around a lot, but I never knew what it meant. Yes, that's what it is. It's like computer science and stats in particular. At Fresno State, if you want to be a data science major, you have to currently be a math major. That might change. But the major is currently a specialty of math at Fresno State. So we'll see if that changes. At Berkeley, for example, I've spoken at Berkeley's data science conference. It's a separate major, and it's sort of like a joint project by computer science and math and other fields as well. And they'll actually build data science modules for other majors. So like if you're a Soc major, they might make a data science unit where they're like analyzing loans that are given to people in different neighborhoods, right? Because there's this concept of redlining where banks don't like giving loans to people in certain geographical areas, and that turns into a racial disparity because people aren't evenly geographically distributed by race and zip code. And so, and to be fair, on the other side of things, like the banks are aware of this and they're aware of the law, and Fannie Mae also does a pretty good job ensuring that their loan programs aren't discriminatory, which is maybe something that people don't hear as much about as the redlining thing. But yeah, you like mine the data for interesting facts. You make predictions about the future, and you understand your business better. So all of these large companies are hiring a lot of data science people because it's, that's what makes your business go. Back in the day, back in the 1900s, I was visiting the Tenement Museum in New York, which is a fantastic place. If you've ever been to New York or are going to go to New York, the Tenement Museum is fantastic. And they're telling a story of this poor guy who lived in the tenements who basically started a store and ended up becoming a very successful businessman. And his strategy, and people are like, how is it that you're always able to have in stock, the things that people are trying to buy, and his strategy was he would go out on the streets of New York and just watch what people are wearing and try to predict trends before they happen. Because if you can do that, when a fad bursts out, like the example I remember was he would see girls putting ribbons around their hats. And so he would contract with a hat manufacturer and have them manufacture hats with ribbons in them. And so when that became a sudden fad, he had all these hats that he could sell to people his competitors didn't. And so everybody went to his store and bought out all the hats, and he made millions of dollars. Again, he's providing people what they want. And people are like, how did you know? He's like, well, I just saw, I just went out and observed, and saw what people are starting to wear and saw they're very excited about these hats. And so there's a lead time to all this stuff. If you do data science, you're working for Nordstrom's, you need to be able to predict, like, are bell bottoms going to be in the fall? Like right now it's spring. You need to know by the fall what jeans people are going to wear. Are tight jeans back? Are, high waistline jeans back? Are bell bottoms back? And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, let's see here. There are these jeans that kind of like flare out on the bottom like that. And they go into fashion, and then they go out of fashion, and they go back into fashion again. And to an outsider, it just seems completely random, right? But if you're paying attention to the data, you can see the trends and predict them. And that gives you the time needed to design the jeans and send an order to China to manufacture them and then ship them and then, put them on a train or a truck or something to your distribution warehouse and then distribute it to your Nordstroms everywhere. All of those steps take time. And so you need to be able to predict the trends early enough in advance that you can you can have your design people design the jeans and go through that whole chain and shipping and everything and have them in stock when all of a sudden people are like, bell bottoms are the new thing. And then you can sell and your competitors can't. So that's data science, right? Other tactics, are data science more in demand than software engineers? I mean, it's not, they're different industries really. And it's not even a question of like in demand, but it's like how many unfilled positions are there? And I can tell you, at least from a academic standpoint, we have a lot of trouble hiring data science professors because there's a lot more demand than there is supply. And so it's, and the salary of data science is pretty good. In fact, last semester I had my students do data science on data science careers and find out how much money data science people made and comparing like US versus the European Union, junior devs, senior devs, mid-level devs, years of experience, salary, all this kind of stuff. And the salary is pretty good. I'd say it's comparable to software engineering. If you work in Europe, you get paid less. Americans get paid a lot more than Europeans. A lot of people like living in Europe though, because like the healthcare and things like that, the social net is stronger in Europe than in America. So some people are willing to take a pay cut and pay the higher taxes on top of the pay cut in order to live in the Netherlands or something. But it's a thing, And so like another approach people took back in the day was they would actually send people to like Paris and they would watch what people are doing in Paris and see what trends are coming out of Paris. And they might send like crinkled satin. That's the new thing. And then they'd send a telegraph or, letter, depending on the era we're talking about. And then the people in New York would make dresses based on what they were getting reports from Paris. Another data science thing that I've done in the past is these stupid scooters that get everywhere. Have you guys ever seen these things? They like cause a complete mess on the streets. They don't have them here in Fresno. At least I've never seen one here in Fresno, but these like bird scooters, and there's like lime scooters, apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur. And it incorporates business too. Yeah. So I would say a good way of describing data science is computer science, math, stats, and business. Especially if you're working for business, you don't have to. Like, for example, the COVID-19 dashboard is data science, and this is healthcare. So this would be computer science, stats, government, because a lot of this ties in with like state level, county level, local level governments, and healthcare, right? So there's like all these different intersections of things. And like I said, at Berkeley, they will do units for different majors. So like history, like they'll have the data science people come in and make a data science like lesson for history, and then the students will get a little exposure to data science, and then maybe maybe I want to do this as a career. You know, I'm a history major. I don't have a lot of prospects for jobs other than, you know, volleyball coach. Uh, yeah, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. And so there's a lot of different areas that you can do data science in. And you know, the COVID-19 thing like was a great example. Like people are predicting, you know, if we do this policy, we'll have this many people die, and it'll cost this much money. And so you can, you know, they're tracking all of these trend datas, and they're tracking vaccine rates over time. They're not doing it anymore, but you can see infections. Like really, the peak of the infection was January of last year, but the peak of the deaths was like January of the year before. And you can see the vaccinations as vaccinations. There were kind of like two waves of vaccinations, and then the deaths sort of tapered off. So this is data science, right? It's, you know, if you are a skilled data science person, you're going to get a job. You're going to get paid well. So yeah. So the bird thing would be like, where are people picking up the scooters? Where are they dropping them off? You know. You know, and understanding the movement patterns of pedestrians around San Francisco, right? And if you're working for Bird, then you want to know, okay, it looks like most of our people are coming into the train station and picking up a scooter there, and then you know, and then distributing it through the downtown area, right? All this is data science, yeah. And you can map the data onto like a Google map, and you can actually visually see like the flow of people through San Francisco based on the pickup and drop off data. So it's a cool field. And like I said, like if your life goal is to be a computer science major, then be a computer science major. You'll get paid just fine as well. You know, it just really depends what your personal interests are. Like what kind of things do you want to do? Personally, I wanted to make video games, you know, and so data science wouldn't be particularly helpful in that endeavor, you know. Because you do programming, but you do sort of like less computer sciencey programming. I don't want to be insulting to my data science people. So but it's like a lot of the programming you do is just sort of like Python scripting and things like that, which is sort of like easier than, you know, a lot of the stuff we do as a computer science major. Would you need a CS major or a CIS? It's actually, like I said, it's actually a math major at Fresno State. And so it may or may not change, but yeah. And so you would actually have to get a degree in math, taking like abstract algebra, which has like a 60 or 70% fail rate for seniors in mathematics. So, you know, there's that. That may change, but you know, that's the current thing. Okay. The concept is less well known, which might be why there's less supply. I mean, at Berkeley, like they have lots of people taking their Data 8 class. Like thousands of people are taking Data 8, and a lot of them are just people that don't want to go through the full EECS program there, the ECS program there. They are people that are like interested in doing some of this stuff, but not like going, you know, full nerd in computer science. So, okay. So your homework assignment, which will be due next Thursday at midnight, is going to be it's going to be building on your knowledge of Python. You don't have to remember anything from your Python. It'll kind of explain things for you as well. There are 3 sections to it. Okay. And this is based on a Netflix show called Over the Moon, which is about a Chinese girl wanting to build a rocket to go to the moon. And so it like goes into like, you know, the calculations for like going to orbit and things like that. And Oh yeah, Kaggle is a great website where you can get data science data sets. Like if you want to grab Steam, the data on like people playing Steam games and things like that, you download it, um, and when you do data science, a lot of the coding in data science is like kind of done for you, right? So this Kaggle thing here is a CSV file. For your homework assignment, you're going to be downloading a CSV file. So let me tell you what a CSV file is real fast. It is a comma separated value file. If this looks like an Excel spreadsheet, it's because, yeah, Excel like works directly with CSV files. But what it actually is under the hood is a bunch of rows. The first row is kind of the names of the columns. And then each row after that is one entry in the database. So separated by commas. So ID 101, Apollo 11, soil, uncieved, this much weight, 88% pristine, and there's just a ton of data. And in a computer science class, well, maybe you would have to write code to parse the CSV file. Like I had my students who were doing the data science on data science, they'd write code to parse the CSV file. In Python, you just go read CSV. You use the pandas library, which is a data science kind of library, and you just be like, open up the CSV file, and it's just boop, and it's done for you. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, and then you clean the data, and all of the homework here is going to just walk you through step by step, loading the data, cleaning the data, parsing the data, and making predictions and things like that. So the first part of this homework assignment is like kind of like an introduction to like data science, like generally speaking. And then the next part is doing predictions, which is an important part of data science. Like here's your current data, inductive reasoning, right? Here's our data in the past, make a prediction about the future, right? And you liked Over the Moon, good. It's like I said with Nordstrom's and department stores, like, here's our data, figure out a trend from it, figure out what we need to buy. In this case, you're going to be looking at meteor storm data and meteor shower. Sorry, it's not a storm. And you're going to predict like when the next meteor is. And then the third part is really cool. You are going to train Microsoft's custom vision service. And so the DALL-E, Midjourney, all these like image generators have made a lot of news recently. And so what you're going to do is you're going to train the thing using custom vision here. And when it loads, there we go. And so it can do things like recognize, like, hey, there's a person here. Hey, the person's holding a spatula. Hey, this is a girl holding a hula hoop, right? You have facial recognition and OCR, like being able to read things. Like this is actually super useful stuff. If you're a computer science major, I think you can see just how useful it is to be able to take a picture and figure out what's in it. And you can train the custom vision service using your own images. And so, yeah, facial recognition, there's no downsides to that. And so, yeah, you can train them. And the lecture here, the lesson here, is going to walk you through training it. You're going to upload pictures of, I don't know, bunnies or whatever, and then tag it so that it knows what it is. Let's go here. Training it. Yeah, so you're going to tag the bunny and say this is Bungie, and then it can recognize it. Okay. And you're going to upload 15 images and teach custom vision to recognize it. It's really cool. Like this is a really cool homework assignment. I've never done it before. I'm very excited. I think you guys are going to have fun with it. It's going to be it's an hour and a half is the estimated time on this. So like if you go back to the beginning here, you can see it's like an hour and a half total. I've done part of it. It's like an hour and a half of your life. The hardest part, I should say, is getting just your development environment set up. And you should have it set up already if you did the Python thing from before. You should have Visual Studio Code You should have Visual Studio Code with the Python plugin, with the Miniconda all set up. If not, it walks you step by step through it. My advice to you guys, though, is to not wait until the last minute. Every semester, whenever I do one of these things, a student will be posting at like 11 o'clock at night, before, an hour before it's due, and they're like, I can't get Visual Studio Code to work or whatever. So, yeah, don't be that guy. The hardest step in computer science is usually the first one, just getting everything set up so that you can start coding. Once you get that and you got some sample code, you can start working on it. But a lot of times, just getting your development environment configured and working right is actually the hardest part of the whole thing. So I would get that done ASAP. I would try to get your development environment going. Get at least the first couple check marks done today, ideally, and then you can procrastinate. No, don't procrastinate. But like you could, but don't procrastinate on the first step. Because if you get stuck, like you're gonna get a 0 and you're gonna be sad. Okay, so it's not a great strategy for success. NASA's got some great data sources. You can like actually download like NASA's like collections of information on the rocks they've brought back from the moon. Kaggle is a great resource for downloading data sets for data science. This guy, I don't know if Wim, because yesterday in my game development class, I had a guy called Wim give my talk. And this guy is doing Steam releases. I don't know, maybe that's a guy that guest lectured. Taylor Swift, all lyrics. I gotta download this one. Anyone here a Swiftie? I'm kidding. Minecraft piracy dataset, Overwatch 2 statistics, graduation rate. Oh, that's interesting. Higher education. What kind of data do they have? State, region, private or public. Is that it? Online retail data set. Graduation rates. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, so there's a lot of data out there. And once you know how to do data science, like I said, most of data science is done using libraries that do things like the graphing for you. Like you don't have to graph your own stuff. They have existing code that will graph things for you. If you want to display pins on top of Google Maps, they got a function for that. If you want to, open a CSV file, they got a function for that. If you want to cluster things, like most of the actual hard work is like encapsulated into a function. And so you just have to know what functions there are, and then you call the function, and then it will just sort of like work. And it's really nice. So there is a learning curve. Like I'm really not trying to downplay the amount of work that it takes to do data science, because it is a lot. But you are handed a really nice set of tools that you can use to get a grip on the data and do clustering and regressions and graphs and things like that. So if you're into this kind of stuff, Kaggle is a very famous place where you can get data to analyze. And then there's plenty of other places as well. Okay. Any questions about it? Are you guys excited? Are you fired up about this? I think it's pretty cool. This is my first time doing it. So let me know. Let me know if it's terrible. And then maybe I'll come up with something different. But I'm personally very excited about this. Yeah, so your homework is to show me that you completed the whole data path. Show me that you're actively coding inside of Visual Studio. Can I do it step by step for you? The Microsoft website that I linked to you is literally step by step. Like every line of code you have to write is on there. And so you can just copy it and paste it into Visual Studio Code and run it, and then do the next one. Like it literally has screenshots, and it walks you step by step through everything you need to do. So yes, it has been done for you step by step. So you just have to follow it. Okay. There's Microsoft's going to help you for once. Yeah, I mean, they're probably spying on you like they usually do. But they're being helpful here. They're trying to sell you on Azure, really, is what it amounts to, because Azure is like Microsoft's big push these days. It's their cloud platform, and so they want students to learn Azure. That's why they give you like free, like quite a lot of free computational, time on it, because they want people to kind of grow up in the Azure environment, so that they can, when they go to work for a company and the company's like, hey, what should we use? Well, I know Azure. Okay, we'll use Azure then. So, is this going to help us make rockets like that Elon guy? I think technically, yes. I think this will technically help you make a rocket, but not like Elon. More like the flat Earth rocket guy. Because that was definitely the vibe that I was getting from watching that movie on Netflix. I'm like, this is not OSHA's safe. So this guy built his own rocket in his backyard to prove that the Earth was flat, and then died. Yeah, it's very sad. Tragically passed away when trying to launch his rocket. Yeah. So, we use flat Earth as a PR stunt. Okay, yeah. I know you didn't believe in flat Earth. I believe that most of the people that are like saying yes to a flat Earth are just kind of trolling. Yeah, I think this is more the kind of rocket you'll be able to make than the SpaceX ones. We try doing some cybersecurity stuff. Oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah. Remind me of that. Maybe we'll do that for the next one. Okay. So we are now going to switch from exciting, fun data science to something depressing. The story of the Therac 25, which is one of the worst disasters in computer science history. It is a story of hubris and tragedy and overconfidence. And so, yeah, prepare to be punched in the feelings. Okay, so I'm going to stop this recording now, and then I will play a video for the Therac 25. And after you've watched it, you can just dip out. Okay.